Did you know? San Andreas' 3 cities closely reference 3 real-life cities in the western United States. Los Santos, meaning the Saints, takes the place of Los Angeles, San Fierro replaces San Francisco, and Las Venturas replaces Las Vegas. The state is named after the San Andreas Fault, a crack in the Earth's crust where 2 tectonic plates meet. Appropriately, the San Andreas Fault is located roughly in the middle of Los Angeles, San Francisco, and Las Vegas. Rockstar also took inspiration from their home country of Scotland. The Garver and Kincaid bridges are based on the Forth Road Bridge and the Forth Rail Bridge, respectively, which link Edinburgh to Fife. Geography aside, San Andreas also takes inspiration from media and world events for its setting and characters. According to co-writer and Rockstar Games co-founder Dan Houser, the game's comedy came from a dry British sense of humor, with the 6 writers constantly wanting to push boundaries. Its satire was leveled at the broader weirdness of American culture, action movies, and consumerism. As Dan Houser said, "They're all British and looking at America from the same perspective." The game alludes to the film Menace to Society multiple times, including a Grove Street gang member who's modeled after the character O-Dog. In the game's second mission, an employee at a pizza restaurant says,
"I feel sorry for your dad."
This is a nod to a line in the movie.
"I feel sorry for your mother."
Actor Clifton Powell played both Big Smoke in San Andreas and Chauncey in Menace to Society. Additionally, the character Alan Crawford is fashioned after the character Trey Styles from Boys in the Hood. Both Menace to Society and Boys in the Hood were released in 1992, the year the game is set. In keeping with its satirical tone, part of the game's narrative alludes to real events. The real-world LAPD Rampart scandal saw many members of the Crash anti-gang unit involved in misconduct. This created false arrests, excessive force, perjury, and planting false evidence. It was one of the largest cases of police corruption in American history, with numerous cases remaining unsolved. In San Andreas, Officer Tenpenny blackmails CJ into working with Crash and is shown to be corrupt throughout. Tenpenny's acquittal and the resulting riots in Los Santos parallel the 1992 LA riots. In 1991, taxi driver Rodney King was beaten by 4 officers wielding nightsticks. Despite video evidence, the officers were acquitted of all charges in 1992. This led to riots across the city, with more than 2,000 injured and over 50 killed. Rockstar didn't shy away from uncomfortable subject matter, including open criticism of their competition. During the mission Mad Dog's Rhymes, a guard remarks,
"How can we practice mess up so bad, Tanner? You suck ass!"
This is a dig at Driver 3, a game by Reflections Interactive considered by many to be an inferior clone of GTA. There are billboards in the game that read, "Get rid of old rubbish fast. True Grime, Street Cleaners," referencing the 2003 action game True Crime, Streets of LA. Another parody can be seen with the bulletproof glass Max Payne, a nod to Max Payne. A hidden Easter egg can be found in Area 69, a thinly veiled parody of Area 51, which is often the subject of alien conspiracy theories. By using cheats, the player can find a normally inaccessible part of the facility with a crowbar lying on a table. This is a reference to the game Half-Life, which also took place in a facility associated with extraterrestrial activity. Half-Life's protagonist Gordon Freeman wields a crowbar. Despite their seemingly disrespectful attitude towards other titles, Rockstar were inspired by many games. They adopted a magpie mentality, taking what they liked from other games and putting them in San Andreas. The team was impressed by the open space in Smuggler's Run, for example, and incorporated similar technology into driving through the countryside. When prompted about a morality system during an interview, Dan Houser replied that it's left up to player choice. Outside of some main story missions, players can be moral or immoral by choice, rather than having morality imposed on them by the game. Rockstar references other games in the GTA series as well. The Jack, Queen, and King cards in video poker feature characters from both GTA 3 and Vice City. Claude and Catalina also make a cameo in the mission Farewell My Love. They move to Liberty City after the mission, leading to the events of GTA 3. The mission St. Mark's Bistro sees CJ return to Liberty City, though the only playable location is St. Mark's Bistro. Despite this, a large part of the city has been modeled, but without collision programming. Using a cheat device and a jetpack to avoid falling through the floor, the player can move outside the bistro. The mission Body Harvest takes its title from the Nintendo 64 game of the same name, created by Rockstar North back when they were called DMA Design. The game paved the way for GTA's success on the PlayStation 2 in a number of ways. It was the company's first 3D outing and ended up driving them to develop for the PS2. Nintendo was slated to publish the game, but was unhappy with its violent content. Supposedly, Shigeru Miyamoto wanted less gore and more puzzles. Nintendo eventually dropped the project, splintering the two companies and leading DMA to seek a new publisher. San Andreas has a handful of original Easter eggs. Climbing the south tower of the Gant Bridge will reveal a sign that reads, "There are no Easter eggs up here. Go away." The Visitor Center lists in-game facts about the bridge, such as the fact that it has 11 textures and takes up 1.27 megabytes of disk space. Failing the mission Running Dog while CJ is overweight results in unique dialogue with Big Smoke. He advises CJ to go to the gym and lose some weight. The player also can't initiate missions involving the jetpack if CJ is too heavy. Collecting all 50 oysters grants many boons, one of which allows the player to date any potential girlfriends regardless of sex appeal. This is a reference to the supposed aphrodisiac effects of oysters. Rumors have persisted for years that Bigfoot can be found in the game. Numerous supposed sightings exist, the authenticity of which are often contested. The release of the PC version made mods widely available, complicating matters even further. For their part, Rockstar have been evasive about the subject, sometimes outright denying Bigfoot's existence, and sometimes being antagonistically coy. The Japanese release of San Andreas was published by Capcom. The game received a Z rating from Japan's CERO Video Games Rating Board, which means players had to be 18 or over to legally purchase the game. Even with this age gate, the Japanese version was still censored. In January 2007, Capcom announced several changes to the game. This included pedestrians not dropping money when killed, and players were now unable to hit a character if the character was already dead. Missions containing explicit sexual acts or murder were also censored or removed entirely. As well as regional changes, there are also several differences between the PC and console versions of the game. When having prostitutes in a vehicle, the console versions keep the noises made by CJ and the girl. In the PC version, you can only hear the vehicle bumping. The PC version also has more shrubbery, but only shows one phase of the moon. It's either full or not visible. More vehicles spawn in the PS2 version, however drivers get more aggressive after you run into them on the PC version. Skin options were reduced from the PC version because of the game's health mechanic, where the character could be normal, buff, or fat depending on their choices. Reskinning the character became more difficult due to the different body shapes. Cooperative play was removed for the PC version of the game, but can be added back with the use of mods. Speaking of cut content, San Andreas had to leave certain things out of the final product. There are 3 total gangs that go unused, including an Italian mafia. There are also multiple cut character models that seem intended to add distinction between the cities. There are different taxi drivers, police outfits, and motorbike cops for each city. The models also had unused voice and sound files. Some unused audio exists for a skateboarder character who is fully voice acted and would even have ridden a skateboard. There's also data in the game's code suggesting skateboards would have been used as both a weapon and a vehicle for CJ. The model and texture still exist in the game, but there's no way to fully re-enable its weapon and vehicle capabilities. This idea was revived by Rockstar and implemented in their next release, Bully. Though there's code present for it in the game, a quadruple insane stunt can't be completed due to a coding error. A similar error prevents the player from being rewarded for completing perfect insane stunts, though these issues can be fixed by those willing to tweak the game's code. There are also a number of deleted missions. Impounded, as the title suggests, sees the player retrieve a fancy car CJ and Caesar were working on after it gets impounded. There would have been a sequel mission to that called Hold Up, also featuring Caesar. While there's a mission called Doberman in the final game, a second Doberman mission exists in the code. This unused mission is a drug bust that CJ had to complete for Officer Tenpenny. The mission named Doberman in the final game was originally called Gang Wars. The Tanked Up mission would have had CJ controlling a miniature tank to destroy buggies Berkeley had set against Zero. The mission The Truth Is Out There was supposedly meant to be given by The Truth after he was held up in Bayside for entering Area 69. The mission All-Terrain Takedown would have seen CJ entering Big Smoke's palace. Although many missions were cut, San Andreas had the capability to support mission packs, which would add additional content. Interestingly, this leftover functionality is now exploited by modders to add user-created missions into the game. There were rumors the rapper 50 Cent was going to play CJ in the run-up to the game's release, as CJ could be read as a contraction of Curtis Jackson, 50 Cent's real name. However, Rockstar denied the claim, telling Electronic Gaming Monthly he had nothing to do with this sequel. Did you also know that many false rumors were spread about Waluigi appearing in both Super Mario 64 and Super Mario Sunshine? Check out the Did You Know Gaming video on Mario rumors for more.